Welcome to Professor Grace's graphic class. Before you start this lesson, download the linked reference file and please watch the ad until the end so you can receive better content. In this tutorial, I will show you how to draw free shapes using the pen tool. If you ask me what is the most important tool in Illustrator, I can say pen tool without hesitation. This is because the pen tool allows you to draw any shape. Before drawing with the pen tool, let's take a look at the basic terms. The name of the small square-shaped point is the anchor point, and the line that connects the anchor point to the anchor point is a path. Bidirectional lines that are not visible on a straight line, but only on a curve, are called direction handlers. By adjusting the direction handler, you can adjust the shape of a curve. There are two things to keep in mind when drawing free curves using the pen tool. The first thing to keep in mind is to draw the curve with the minimum number of anchor points possible. This is because more anchor points increase the file size, and adding more anchor points than necessary makes it difficult to modify the shape. As you see, 3 anchor points are needed to draw a curved line. It is not advisable to add more anchor points between anchor points to draw this shape. The second thing to keep in mind is that the path shape between the anchor point and the anchor point should be connected naturally. A well-drawn illustration can be said to be smooth and natural in shape without knowing where the anchor point was added. First, let me show you how to draw a straight line. Click the fill icon in the Tools panel and press / on the keyboard to remove the fill color. When you draw a shape with the fill color from the beginning, it is difficult to trace the reference template image correctly, and the shape may be confusing in the drawing process. When drawing with the pen tool, it is recommended to use only the stroke color and apply the fill color after drawing. In the stroke panel, click the Weight drop-down button and select 5 points. Select and hold pen tool. Then touch the tear-up bar to separate it from the panel. Click on the cross guideline to add a starting anchor point. To draw a straight line at an angle, hold down Shift and click along the guideline to draw a cross. Then move the mouse to the starting anchor point you first clicked. A circle appears on the pen tool mouse icon, which means that clicking on the starting anchor point makes the line a closed fill. Click the starting anchor point to close the line. In the swatches panel, click the cross pattern. Now, let's draw a straight line of free angle. Click on the airplane guideline to add a starting anchor point. Draw along the guideline and click the starting anchor point to close the line. Click the airplane pattern in the swatches panel. Then hold down Ctrl and click on the Alt board to release the selection. As you have just seen, you can draw a straight line at an angle by holding down Shift. But if you click without holding down Shift, you can draw a straight line of a free angle. Now, let's draw a curve using the pen tool. Press Ctrl+ several times to zoom in. Then hold down the spacebar and drag to the top right of the artboard. In general, the minimum number of anchor points needed to draw a circle is 4. Click on the guideline to add a starting anchor point. To draw a curve, click and drag the mouse at the next location and adjust the direction handler to match the shape of the guideline. If you move the mouse to the next location and then click and drag to modify the shape to match the guideline, you will see that the direction handler of the previous anchor point interferes with the path shape of the next anchor point. To solve this problem, you must remove one side of the current bidirectional direction handler before adding the anchor point to the next location. Press Ctrl Z to cancel the added anchor point. Click on the second anchor point that has the bidirectional direction handler and remove one side of the bidirectional direction handler. Move the mouse to the next location, then click and drag to draw the shape along the guideline. However, you need to click the part of the neck that should be drawn in a straight line without dragging the mouse. Click and drag the process to draw a curve, and then click the anchor point to remove one direction handler to draw the rest of the curve. However, you need to click the part of the neck that should be drawn in a straight line without dragging the mouse. As I mentioned before, it is important to keep in mind that the curve should be drawn with the minimum number of anchor points, and the path shape between the anchor point and the anchor point should be drawn naturally. If you are using the pen tool to draw a curve for the first time, you may be wondering where to add the next anchor point. In this case, click and drag as far as possible and adjust the direction handler to draw a curve. If the shape you want is not possible, press Ctrl Z to cancel and divide the distance according to the situation. If you are not familiar with the pen tool, the process of drawing curves may be difficult. In this case, it is important to take time to practice and practice steadily until you can naturally draw the shape you want. When the curve is almost drawn, click the starting anchor point to close the curve, and then click the human pattern in the swatches panel. When you move the mouse over the path without selecting the Add Anchor Point tool, you can see that the mouse icon changes to the Add Anchor Point tool. In this state, click to add a new anchor point to an existing path or select Add Anchor Point tool, and click the completed cross object to add an anchor point. After selecting the Direct Selection tool, you can change the shape by selecting and moving the added anchor point. If you move the mouse over the anchor point without selecting Delete Anchor Point tool, you can see that the mouse icon changes to Delete Anchor Point tool. In this state, click to delete the anchor point you just added, or select Delete Anchor Point tool and click the anchor point to delete it. If you hold down Alt and move the mouse to the anchor point of the cross without selecting Convert Anchor Point tool. You will see that the mouse icon changes to Convert Anchor Point tool. In this state, click and drag the anchor point of the cross to convert the straight line into a curve. This time, select Convert Anchor Point tool and click the anchor point of the cross just converted to curve to convert the curve to straight line. As you have just seen, you can add or delete anchor points at any time by using the Add Anchor Point tool and Delete Anchor Point tool. Or you can modify the shape by converting straight lines into curves or converting curves into straight lines by using the Convert Anchor Point tool. So far, you will take a look at how to draw straight lines and curves using the pen tool and how to modify path shapes using the associated tools. The important thing to remember in this tutorial is that when you draw a straight line, you have to draw it by clicking and clicking the mouse. And when you draw a curve, you need to repeat the process of clicking and dragging the mouse, then clicking on the anchor point to remove one side of the bidirectional direction handler. If you practice using the pen tool to draw curves, you will be able to draw natural illustrations as soon as possible. I hope this tutorial has helped you understand the pen tool and related tools. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching Professor Grace's Illustrator lecture. Please watch the next video in order to follow all the courses without skipping a lesson. To keep learning and master Illustrator, please press the subscribe and the like buttons.